Aloha and like Flynn viewers. As many of you know, I am a former cast member at the Walt Disney World Resort. I previously worked for Disney MGM Studios as a tour guide on the Disney MGM Studio Backlot Tour. Had the time of my life. I really enjoyed my time working for the Walt Disney Company and the Walt Disney World Resort. Unfortunately, over the years, as many of you know, slow incremental changes started changing my outlook on the company, how it's handled, where it was going. More and more decisions were made over the years where I just did not agree with what was happening. And then unfortunately, when Bob Paycheck came in, I'm going to call him Paycheck because all he cared about was money, he made so many poor decisions, made so many horrible changes for the parks. I'm really at a point now where I enjoy going to the parks only because my kids do. My kids know Disney for what it is now, not what it was back then. I am all for change. So don't get me wrong. Don't make me out to be a person who is just against change, because I am not. I think there have been some good additions to the parks in terms of attractions, but unfortunately for the consumer, I've already put out a video on this you can watch, kind of about my rant against Disney Part 1 in regards to how Disney World is just not for your middle class anymore. Unfortunately, they've paywalled everything to death. They've monetized every little thing that they could. They've bled us dry, and it's gotten to a point now where you have to be upper class to enjoy the parks. And if you're not, you're going to go into a heck of a load of debt. So this is my rant part 2. And this is just stemming from a lot of things that just came at my recent trip. So we just took the kids out to a trip to visit Disneyland. I've already been to Disneyland before, way back in 2006 with my wife. But my kids, who are diehard Disney fans, I mean, they know more Disney trivia and facts and knowledge than even some of the experts and people working there, guaranteed. And they were dying to go to Disneyland. So we broke down and we booked a Disneyland trip. And for someone on the East Coast, that is a lot of money. That is, the amount of money we spent taking our kids out there to Disneyland was absurd. I will throw out a casual number. It easily costed us every bit of $7,000 to take our family out to California for a week and go to the Disney parks for a 3-day park hopper for 3 days. Just because we felt like in the summertime, we went in the summer, that we would need the hopper pass to kind of navigate our way through the crowds and things, which we knew were going to be pretty extraordinary, but we couldn't take our kids out of school. And yeah, we had to go in the summer. There was no way around it. So here are some of my problems that I currently have as a cast member. Former cast member, let me say, I'm a former cast member. I haven't worked for Disney in quite some time. And the magic of Disney, it's there, it's lingering, but it's not as abundant as it once was. There was a time when I would go into the park and you'd be waiting to get into Magic Kingdom, the train would come down, and there would be a tear in your eye. You would see the look in your kids' faces and you would tear up, you would well up, you would feel that magic and just have that engulf you. That's gone. Now everything costs money. If you want to get into the park for extra magic hours, well, you better be staying at one of their resorts. And you know what? You better not just be staying at one of the resorts. You better be staying at one of their nice resorts if you want to get into the park half hour early. Remember those extra magic hours where you could get in like an hour early? Well, I'm pretty sure those are mostly gone now. Now you get in like a half hour early. And it's just a bummer. And extra magic hours at night, same thing. The tours, the price of the tours are absurd. They used to be somewhat affordable. When I saw the price for the Not So Scary Halloween party, it blew my mind. I mean, it would cost me on one of their premium nights over $900. just to take my family of four to a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. $900 for one evening of entertainment. And this is going to take me into where I'm going next. All these new attractions, okay? I like the fact that they're trying to one up in terms of technology. And I want to say, like, Cosmic Rewind. I love that attraction. I love Cosmic Rewind. I also love Rise of the Resistance. I think that is a fantastic attraction. But the technology is just so incredibly reliant on triggers and different things working and mechanisms working. It's constantly going down. When we were just out in Disneyland, it was ridiculous how much you would have to just cross your fingers and hope that these attractions were not going down. Rise of the Resistance went down for hours every single day we were in California. I am not exaggerating, every single day. It was almost, because we monitor the app. We do a lot of due diligence when we go on a trip. So we were monitoring the apps and wait times. Take a look and see just how often Rise of the Resistance is actually open at rope drop. People are like, I'm going to rope drop Rise of the Resistance. When we were there, when we were in Disneyland a few weeks ago, not one of the 3 days we were in the parks did Rise of the Resistance open at park open because of technical issues. It didn't even open until midday or later. And the one day didn't even open until the evening, if I remember correctly. Multiple times we had to get rid of our lightning lane passes because of attractions going down. So it's not just Rise of the Resistance that was having issues. The Cars attraction over in Cars Land in Disney California Adventure, Radiator Springs Racers, constantly going down. And the weather's not bad. It's not due to weather. I could totally understand it was Florida and these attractions had to close for weather. But no, these are just attractions closing because they are either in disrepair, which shame on you, Disney, for allowing your attractions to get to that point. Your Indiana Jones attraction, it's in bad shape. And the Disney company that I knew way back when would not have let this happen. So you've got all these new attractions that people are trying to ride that are constantly breaking down, that are constantly going down, and that creates a headache. When you have lightning lanes, when you paid good money for lightning lanes to get on and skip the line, skip the 3-hour line, and then while you're waiting there, it's like, oh, yep, hey, sorry, it went down. We don't know how long it's going to be down, but it's going to be down for probably a while. But here you go. Here's a fast way. You come back later. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't get to come back later and ride because it never comes back up. That's ridiculous. You got Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which just opened in Magic Kingdom. All I'm hearing about is constant problems with that attraction going down. And that sucks because I miss Splash Mountain. I don't think there was any reason to get rid of Splash Mountain. I think you could have upgraded that. I don't think you needed to redo that for newer IP, if you will. I like The Princess and the Frog. I like Princess Tiana. I could have just done with a simple dark ride, which they seem to be getting away from. Like, take me back to the time where you could just open up a simple dark ride attraction that people love. Open up a ride like Alice in Wonderland in Disneyland or Snow White Scary Adventures or Mr. Toad. Like a simple dark ride that just takes you through the whimsical fancy of the movie that you have come to enjoy. We don't need a technological benchmark of a attraction to get us interested. Unfortunately, unless they make improvements to this technology, it's going to keep happening. And now, with all these things that they've announced at D23, I'm excited about some of these attractions, but at the same time, I'm not. The whole idea that they're going to fill in Rivers of America in Walt Disney World to put in a Cars attraction, which isn't really themed for that area, that blows my mind. Because part of the magic in the Disney parks is its theming. Is the way that you can slowly get into these different lands and be consumed by the theming and the environment and just the visuals and the sounds that engulf you and bring you in as part of the magic. It's going to be gone. Like, they're just making it into a typical theme park that you can get anywhere around the country. Having that steamboat going through a theme park. That's a wow factor. That's like, holy smokes, look at this. There's this huge, amazing steamboat that's carrying people around and seeing cool sights around the Magic Kingdom. And you're going to fill it in with dirt and cement to put in a Cars attraction, which I'm sure will be entertaining. I'm sure people are going to enjoy it. I get that you're building this for the future generations, and I'm a fan of Cars too, and I'll probably enjoy the ride when it's operating. But how can you just take these things out? And you continue to charge us more and more money. It's absurd. They're at a point where they need to start giving back. If park attendance has been dropping significantly, and you know what? They're starting to price people out. They're starting to make people upset. They're starting to get people to not come back or not come back as frequently. We used to be able to get annual passes to Disney World, and if we just took 2 trips in a year, it'd be worth our money. Now, for us to get annual passes to the Walt Disney World Resort and make it beneficial for us, we would have to go 4 times. 4 times, or 3 very long trips, or 2 super long trips. That's ridiculous. We're not going to plan an entire year around nothing but Disney World vacations. You just get, quite honestly, you just kind of get done with Disney at a certain point. And yes, I'm not totally relying on all the rides and all the attractions. There's so many other things you could do. But yeah, at a certain point, you just get burnt out. You're not going that much. So if you're living down in Florida, that's great. You can go and get your annual pass. That's cool. But for someone that's further away, annual passes just aren't even worth it anymore. So where do they go? I think they need to start giving people stuff back. They need to start bringing back the promotions, the dine free. I noticed they are starting to do that, but we need deeper discounts. They need to lower the cost of tickets. They need to bring back the extra magic hours for everybody, or at minimum, just allow it for all the Disney World resorts that include the value in the moderate resorts, not just for the deluxe resorts that only the rich can afford. That's ridiculous. Give us back the Fast Pass system, or make Lightning Lane free. You know what? I mean, if you want to call it Fast Pass again and just say, hey, you're going to book these times on the app, and they're exclusive and they're going to go. You know what? They're not going to be available all the time, but hey, maybe you're going to get lucky a handful of times throughout the day and get good return times for attractions. So be it, because I am so sick of seeing these lines longer than they've ever been. And if you go to Disney World and you're not ponying up the dough for Lightning Lane or Genie Plus, then you're having a bad time, because those lines are out of this world. And unless you're a Disney expert, sort of like my wife and I and my kids, and know how to navigate crowds through busy times, and even then that doesn't work, you're in a lot of trouble. You're going to be just standing down there in the hot Florida sun, just waiting in lines for your entire vacation. The kids are going to be screaming. You're not going to have a great time. And that just really bums me out. I'm not saying that there wasn't long lines before, like you went to a spring break or in the summertime. Yes, there was long lines in Disney World, but there were ways to get around it. And you know what? The dining. Disney has world-class dining in their parks. World-class. I'm not going to argue that, but they are going way too top-heavy now with all the fancy options. On our last trip, my kids were looking at the menus, not knowing what half the stuff is. You know what? Give us the basics for the kids. I shouldn't be having to look around for a restaurant to find out which one might have chicken tenders for my kids. My wife and I, yes, we enjoy a good meal. But come on, we are on vacation. We don't want to sit down for 3 hours and have like these crazy meals that are going to cost us hundreds of dollars. I know there are people that want that, and I know people enjoy that. But for your average family, just give us the basics. Give us what we want. And everything doesn't have to be premium. Do things that cater toward your lower to middle class consumer that can enjoy these things without having to spend $60, $70 on a quick service lunch. I mean, we had to budget quite literally $70 per quick service meal at Disneyland when we were just there. And the food really wasn't that great. But I don't need chicken parmesan and like fancy meals when I go to lunch in a theme park. So, yeah. Just do better. Please, just do better. Back in my time, if a ride went down for technical issues. Like, that was a big deal. That was a huge deal. It affected our amazing, amazing guests that we would go out of our way for to make sure had a good time and that the magic was there. That's what it was all about, making sure the guests had a magical experience. Now, it's kind of like, oh, this ride's down, this line's down. They're doing too much at once also. That, my last point, I'll just make it really quick. I know I'm really kind of long-winded here, and I'm sorry. But the idea that they're doing all this stuff at once, I want to enjoy the park for what it is. I don't want to go to a park and freaking a third of the park is surrounded by ugly walls because you're doing all this construction. I get construction needs to happen. That's fine. But come on, like what you just got done doing to Epcot. Epcot was a joke. It was so torn up. Had construction vehicles everywhere. And there was walls. And like in your photos, you don't want to see construction walls. You don't want to see these just horrible cranes and stuff like that and construction work going on all over the park. And they're going to be doing it everywhere with everything they just announced in D23. You know, you've got, still in Disneyland, you had so much of the attractions that were closed. All of Frontierland was basically almost closed, minus Big Thunder Mountain, because of everything that was going on with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That was horrible. Like, Winnie the Pooh was closed. Tiana's Bayou Adventure was closed. All the sort, that whole area was closed in Disneyland. There's only 2 parks in Disneyland, and that was like a whole land of Disneyland that was closed. And now coming up, you're going to have these huge walls surrounding Frontierland in Walt Disney World. And all these attractions that they're opening up, like Animal Kingdom is going to be torn up for a long time. So you go and you take this trip that's going to cost you 10 grand, and then you're going to get there and there's going to be nothing but construction going on. The magic's, like, it's got to come back. Come on. Bring us the magic back, Disney. I guess rant number 2 is over. I've got so many more things to say, but this is going on for a long time, and people don't need to listen to me just rant. All right. Well, anyway, I got that off my chest. Hope you all enjoyed my rant. If not, you can totally let me know in the comments what you think. If you don't agree with me, it's cool. It's totally fine. If you have any questions for a former Disney World cast member, hit me up. I should probably do a video on my experience there. It's pretty interesting stories, actually. But until next time, everyone, aloha. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.